We've gone full out.
Yeah, thanks to some random guy on the internet who was calling us cheap. All right, so bad news on the crank.
It's junk.
It's junk. It's
Go
30
anchor.
30 or 35 PAL out of rounds, which is not good. Number one, you can fix it. Nobody will warranty it. So you have to weld it and then machine it, and it's a whole process. So we're trying to find cranks. Can't find crankshafts anywhere. Got an issue because Case won't sell long blocks, short blocks, because they're...
No, they sell short blocks.
They sell short blocks?
Yeah, so I got a price on short block, it's 13 grand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's not in our budget.
Yeah, I know.
So, Facebook Marketplace to the rescue. Here we go. It's also...
Strap.
Oh, the strap is what's making the noise.
Okay. You think it might... It does move.
As long as it goes all the way around. If it was jammed, it would be stuck in the spot that it jammed, right? So.
Yeah, it doesn't have a tag on it, which sucks. But it looks the same.
I think you're gonna have to take the chance.
Wouldn't be the first thing we bought and got screwed on. Remember that transmission we got from out west?
Yeah, but I gave you
so
the
well
address
either.
and you even know the person that you got it from, so.
That cost me $2 grand. We used a shifter fork out of it, the rest went to V&R.
Drive around with 1,200 pounds of wet straw in the back of his truck.
It's winter time. You need a little weight in the back end.
It's four-wheel drive.
Snowy road. That's good. Yep. Rep the what do you call it?
Bed liner. Oh no.
The Linex.
Oh.
You scraped the Linex off.
Oh.
Shoot. There's another box sitting at Rich's right now that is going on.
It's like animals living in there.
Well, that's the thing. Like, taillight's falling out. There's nothing left to screw it onto. This engine came from Lakeside Landscaping for all your landscaping needs. Talk to Mitchell.
Thanks, Mitchell.
No problem. Question is why did they pull this motor out of whatever it was in? Like, you don't swap engines just because the one's running too good, right? And like you can see, you know, there's been a rad hose on. You can see this is rusted. You can see the paint's off the exhaust. This engine was running at one point. Mm-hmm. So they swapped it out of something because they overheated it and they wrecked a block. That would be cool. It would be very uncool if it's got a thrown rod in it. Well, unless the crank is still, if the crank is damaged but can still be machined, then we're still okay. But if it's destroyed, then that sucks. But we're not gonna know until we get it apart.
No, so we gotta take it apart. But Kevin's being a big negative Nancy. They bought this because it was cheap and they had two pieces of equipment that had this engine in it. They said, you know what? That's a good running engine and we'll buy it as a spare just in case. Then they sold those two pieces of equipment and then they decided to sell this engine.
Because you can see this isn't on whatever was on here. This
Word that it was outside because there's green. I didn't see that green before. Like
yeah.
A tree, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm not so concerned about that because that one in the combine, right, it sat outside of the Holden side of the block for a year, had all kinds of rain and water and everything, and that crank was still good. Yeah. Everything else was, like, it had a lot of water in it, right? Provided that they didn't drain the oil out of this thing before they let it sit outside. You never know what's right. So, and if the crank is a little bit rusty and just needs a polish.
It's not rusty because there's connected rods on it.
Yeah,
like,
but
not going to be rusty.
If it needs to be polished, or even if it needs to be turned 10 cal off,
as
fine.
long as there's not a piston hanging up.
Yeah,
Anyway, you guys comment down below right now before you watch the video and you say whether that engine is good or bad, whether that was a good buy or a bad buy.
Well, the good news is though, is the part number, because we don't know, there's no markings on the timing cover what this is, but the part number cast into the block is the same as our block.
Okay.
So chances are the crank is what we want.
Because there are different variations of this Iveco
Right.
engine, and you said the year newer than yours is different?
Yeah, well, I never checked if it was this exact engine, but the newer skid steers, like the 430, the Series 3s, have an updated version of the motor. I don't know if it's still a 445 Iveco or what it is, but
Okay.
none of the parts are the same, so it's different. So the fact that the block is the same, and you know, like the valve cover on the new ones, it's doesn't have this single, like this kind of combined first
the
one.
vent, yeah.
But like the 440s had the same engine, just it was turbocharged. So that could be what this version is. Different pistons, maybe different camshaft. We don't care. We just need a crank.
Yeah. All right, let's dig in them.
Yeah.
They're loose.
Well, like look at the lines. Right, all the tie downs are loose.
Yeah.
And there's no.
What are they?
There's no washers on the.
That looks good.
That looks good.
That looks really good.
I know. I can pop them out pretty.
That's I think somebody rebuilt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, someone's been in here.
Somebody's robbed one line. So
Yeah, well, you
they
can see it's
started
all
picking
rust.
stuff
It's all
apart.
rusted here too, right?
Yeah. But it's been off for a while.
Well, that's we're gonna use the injectors because. Let's see, like this line's loose.
But look at the oil.
It's got oil in it. That's good. Yeah, it's like new.
It's like new. See, I told you, I'm winning. It's new.
So somebody rebuilt it. It didn't run right, and they said, "Screw it, let's get a new one." Is that what's going on? They couldn't figure out the timing. We shouldn't talk about that because we might be in the same boat. These are all loose.
They wanted something on the injection side.
There's a bunch of fuel stuff missing. I don't think I'd want to use this pump. All right, we just want to knock this head off now.
Oh,
That's not 100 foot-pounds, is it?
no, it's not. Valve seals look brand new.
You just dropped a push rod in.
Oh no.
That's you. You want to take this thing up the front so it sits flat, or we don't care?
Well, gotta keep the injectors off of it.
Let's see if we leave it on there.
Yeah.
I guess we don't want to. Just put some new rings in and away we go.
Well, that sucks. There's water in this one.
Well, that's probably why I think it was hard to turn over.
Yeah. All right, so what's your theory?
So my theory is you just take a picture of this and go, oh no, is the end gonna be any good? Is it gonna be any good? And then da-na-na, to be continued.
My theory on this engine is somebody bought this at an auction, but it's been outside. Like, look, see all the green? And we didn't see that in the cover off because we had our love blinders on. But I think somebody took the head off and did Kevin's reaction of like, oh no. And then they put the head back on and sent it back to auction again. But we don't care because we
I took the heater out because they wanted that. I took the turbo off. Although the turbo could have went on the last engine that it replaced. I don't know, whatever.
This
is clean.
really, really good.
Well, it's got
a little bit of water in it. Like, it's damp, but
Right.
it's still clean enough. I think the engine was next to new though, by the look of the valves and stuff. I don't think there's many hours on it. I think somebody just left it outside. Don't leave your stuff outside. If this is your engine, comment. Or if you know whose engine this was, Niagara area, probably an auction. Was it?
Well, I thought a Ritchie Brothers auction.
Richard-
So it could have came from anywhere.
Yeah. Well, we'll find the owner of this eventually, but we're going to pull this off and pull the oil pan off and just take a look at our nice new car.
We're gonna pull the oil pan off first because it's part of it. Like it's.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And then-
Yeah.
and
So
look
we
at
gotta
the
lift this up with the forklift so we can get the oil out of the oil pan.
And then when we need time cover, we can pull the oil pan and pull a cap and see how your crank is.
Well, you gotta pull all the crank because the other crank it looked beautiful except for number one. So you gotta pull them all off to see.
Well, then we might as well pull. All right, now we gotta
Pull
do
it
it
out.
properly. Okay, fine.
that up, the shop floor's gonna look like it did before we cleaned it.
I'm sorry. Well,
Let's see how much American beer comes out first.
Yep.
Oh, a little bit of American beer in there. Not a lot though, not a lot.
Oh, I've seen a lot worse.
It smells, it's even clean.
Yeah.
It's not all black.
I think the engine was rebuilt. I think they just left it outside.
I think so.
I think so. I think your crank is brand new.
You think it's got,
Undersized bearing.
you think so?
Yeah, I bet it's got undersized.
I think I'm gonna put this oil on a tractor. That's good stuff yet. Yes, mine's thin. With a big ringer on the outside. That's good shit in me.
My heart didn't go on that one. I think you should feel a little pain there, right?
I did.
Yeah. Okay, so it's got a balancer, which
Ours is not.
ours does not, but Kevin wants the smoothest running Iveco engine in his skid steer, so he can just add this.
Put that oil pan on, bang a hole in the bottom of the skid steer so it fits.
Just small modifications, but the balancer only runs off the crank. So the crank shouldn't be any different, and we're still going on these numbers, the casting numbers all being the same. So we're gonna flip her over, pull this off, and then we'll pull that crankshaft out. And hopefully it's a good day, because really the only thing that's good on this thing is the crankshaft.
And a connecting rod.
Oh yeah, you need a connecting rod, yeah.
One bouncer.
285, 2009.
But that could change up yet, that 283.
Yeah. So that's a 285, 2009.
2830218.
I was gonna say your connecting rod numbers don't match, but none of them match each other. Different crank?
I think so. 2852009, 2853822, 504. Those are all the part numbers.
So we're 285.
We're 283. One price is only 1420. We gotta get that from K Motor Shop and wherever.
See if we'll trade.
See if a trade.
Shit.
The casting numbers are the same, but yeah, with that. You're saying all the part numbers are different on their rods?
Yeah, one's like this one is 46436, and this one's 6438. And then
Is that the part numbers though?
I don't know. They're like
The part numbers are right here on the.
oh, well that's a casting number.
4895748.
I got 4895748.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
So the rods are the same.
Yeah, you just bought $1,000 connector.
No, but if the rods are the same and the block is the same,
Then the crank's gotta be the same.
gotta be close. But I'm wondering if it's this gear.
Then we can change the gear.
Yeah, how?
Count the teeth. It can't. It matches with the cam. There's no way. There's no way that's different. Let's pull it up.
Pull it out and let the machine shop figure it out?
Yeah.
All right, well, we gotta take this front off.
The connecting rods are the same and the block is the same. The crankshaft's gotta be the same. Brand new, Kevin?
I just wanted to see what the bearing was, if there's a.
If they're STD.
Yeah.
Because those look. Well, that one's got more wear than the other one. It did go around once. STD. Okay.
Crankshaft is mint, except it's got the wrong number on it.
Yeah. But by how many numbers?
Well, ours is 2852009. That's out of the parts book. I wonder what the casting number on ours is. Might be interesting to know.
Well, we're gonna ask Scott on Monday, but let's just lay it in there and see what happens. Oh, I call that success.
Boom, boom.
It goes round and around, doesn't hit anything.
What's all this?
That's all the water coming out of your oil jacket.
Oh yeah, well we don't want that sitting down there resting, do we?
No, we don't. Can you put your timing cover back on? Your timing gear?
Yeah.
The only thing that can be different is this gear. This gear you can pop off, so that doesn't matter. Is there timing marks on it? Spin it over twice, make sure that they... Oop. Yeah. Oh, backlash. It's backlash. I'd let somebody cross numbers and verify, but I think
4899610.
489 9610. Camshaft the same.
Yeah.
489
9610.
9610.
Yeah. I think you're all set, man. Just grab the balancer, throw it on there, and then pop your oil pan. I think it fits, but you still need some spot for your oil. Does this thing slosh around in the oil? Yeah, so that entire thing sits in the oil. Oh no, it doesn't. Your dipstick's hanging up. No, so the bottom half sits in the oil. Your oil sits right here, top of my finger, right at the bottom of the shaft, according to the dipstick. If your oil's full, your oil's sitting right here.
I think that pan will fit.
Yeah. So this dipstick sticks out. It's right there.
So rods are the same, camshaft's the same, block's the same. Crank different? Question mark?
The question mark. So we have to just run some numbers. But I think you've got, the only thing we can see different possibly is the balancer. And the balancer, the oil pan is 3/4 inch deeper. And that is important because the oil is that much lower on here, and this thing will be spinning and smashing the oil.
Well, the other thing is the pickup tube is going to be down here, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the other thing. The pickup tube probably won't fit. We never thought about that. The pickup tube won't fit in
Right.
there.
But I think you've got 3/4 inch at the bottom of that. There's probably.
Probably.
And even if you don't, you could lift.
Sledgehammer 3/4 inch down.
Even if you don't have 3/4 inch, you could lift it up. I've got a whole bunch of hockey pucks.
Yeah, but then you got that.
Yeah, your pump can go up a hair.
And then we gotta lift the camera up, then we gotta lift.
No, you got 3/4 inch every. So 3/8 of an inch at the bottom, 3/8 at the bottom.
we should measure.
Top, you're almost there.
Yeah, but we gotta measure.
But anyway, you got the connecting rods the same, cams the same, blocks the same. I'm pretty sure we have enough parts to make it work.
Enough parts to make a engine work.
All right, we'll figure this out tomorrow. It's late on Friday night. Time to go to bed. But it's not a total disappointment where it's like, oh, this was a 5-cylinder. All right, so we didn't record any of this, but Scott went over the head at Northtown. He also polished the crank and measured the crank, told us it was okay, and then he said, stop being cheap.
He says, I'll just drop the block off and I'll check it out because we were concerned about if the bores were worn. So he measured those. He took 4 off, fell off the deck, and then he hot tanked it. Cleaned all the oil passages, which we would have done with the air blower, but he cleaned it up because it hot tanked, and yeah, there was a bunch of junk in there, right?
Yeah.
Because when you spin a bearing, that just pollutes everything. So this has been done, that's been done. They did find a bent valve in the head, and I said, that wouldn't happen to be out of number 2, would it? And the guy that did it said, oh, it was either number 2 or number 3. So I'm banking that was number 2, because remember
Depends whether he was looking at the cylinder head this way,
Right.
or this way.
Right, but we had low compression in number 2, and he's like, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? Rod's bent, or the valve is bent, it's not sealing 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we have an answer to, because there was nothing that we found.
No, that's
saying,
right.
Like, hey, because we thought for sure we had a problem with number 2 bearing, and then it was number 1, and we're like, oh.
Yeah, and there has to be a reason. We did the compression test multiple times, and again, you can check that other video, but now
It
giving
wasn't having low compression because it just felt like it that day.
That's right. That's right. so it does pay. Generally, when I do a head, I send him to Scott regardless because he'll deck it and check it over. It's
Magnaflex it for cracks.
Yeah, and it's inexpensive compared to doing it again the second time because you still doesn't start or smokes like crazy or has no power, right? So now we're good. We got a printed manual off the interweb.
Looks like it's the right one.
So yeah, we'll start with unwrapping. And
Yeah, it's like Christmas time.
yeah, and you got a whole box full of parts.
Yeah,
So-
a whole bunch of new parts. Gaskets, bearings, rings, seals.
And I'll be driving home about 6 times grabbing tools we don't have.
Yeah.
Better video, slice your finger wide open, Kevin.
Yeah.
Do it for the gram.
Trying to reduce my trips to the hospital.
Nothing like a fresh, clean block. Look at that.
Fresh, clean parts. No matter what it is. Look at that, eh? This thing's gonna have horsepower that we never dreamed of before.
You gonna put the turbo on it?
Well, then we need an exhaust manifold. No, exhaust manifold's the same. But
You
we
just-
needed
Exhaust after the turbo.
after the turbo. And
I
there
can
was
wait. Vince can weld something up.
no, there was
beautiful.
something else that was a big thing. that
Probably money, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, it was money. I don't know.
So we're gonna wash it with soap and water. You can see there's just because.
Well, when he does the boring, it leaves a little bit of stuff in there that you can't see.
Oh, okay.
That's what he said. He says, wash it out with soap and water, or
Then we'll do that.
we'll do that. So,
I thought you were gonna make more of a mess. That's why I moved it. I was.
well, I didn't want to drown it. I don't want to fill the whole thing full of water.
I usually brake clean the hole and then spray all the oil in there and then wipe my hand around in there and then shove the piston in after
Yeah.
it's been soaked in.
So I said, oh, I'm just gonna use brake cleaner, and he's like, well, but it leaves a bit of a film. Which he said it likely be all right, but
It does, but not if you put oil in it like immediately after. You blow it and then, but whatever. So we have a full engine build on the Cat and a 5.9 Cummins on the other channel, but not on this channel yet. So we're gonna basically rebuild the engine on this channel.
they didn't take all the goo off, or did they?
Oh, Scott.
Is that?
There's that rust and scratches?
It looks like stress and scratches.
It looks like it was like dragged.
Yeah.
Why'd you drag it?
I didn't drag nothing.
Just a little,
Circles?
yeah, sharpening stone off for a knife. Nice flat surface with WD-40 on there to lube it up. This is brand new.
I did keep one piston squirter out,
Okay.
just in case. I'm like, if we need one, that's a lot of work to go get it. Like if you do something stupid, like you break a bolt or something, and it's like, I know there's more, but we gotta tear the whole engine apart.
I always lose the last one of whatever I'm taking apart. One oil pan bolt, one head bolt, one nut somewhere that's either in the socket or you put them all in the pail. But the last one, you hold the pan or you whatever and you forget that last one.
Somebody kicked it across the shop.
Yeah.
Neighbor comes over, see what you're doing, kicks your bolts all over.
Cooling nozzles. 15 Newton meters. What the hell's a Newton meter?
A Newton meter is,
Cookie? Sounds like a good cookie. Can you pass
You
a Newton meter?
you gotta times it by 0.762. What is it now? 737,562. I had to memorize that because I guess
So
I was
that's
sick of looking.
23 foot-pounds.
New. It's less than whatever is in there, right? Because you're 0.7
Not if you. Oh yeah, if you divide it.
times 0.737562. 11.
Oh,
But it gives you plus or minus 3.
Newton meters though, not foot-pounds.
I'm working on that.
15.
Plus or minus 2. So we can go up to 13. 9 to 13. So there's no tab.
That's odd.
Hey! Looks like that's where the numbers were, so let's just put the numbers there.
That works.
That should be working. There was something, I remember that if it doesn't have a tab, the numbers gotta go, that they're supposed to be stamped.
Yeah?
in a certain, yeah.
My theory is if it doesn't have a tab, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I don't know.
But there is something to Scott when he builds the race engines. He's like, you're only allowed to spin the crankshaft the proper rotation. When you spin it the other way, the fibers or something, the hairs staying the other way, and it's already not.
So what happens
as good as it is
when it stops and it goes and backs up a little bit?
I don't know. Don't do that.
Well, all engines do that. They stop on compression, right? And then they always kick back a tiny bit. Watch your fan. You shut the motor off. It always comes back a little bit.
Okay, so the bearings come in pairs, and they're going with the right cap to the hole. And then we took a picture when we took it apart, and the numbers go towards
that side. So this is the side of the crank that has the oil drive gear on it, and that would be.
That's why I take pictures. Okay, so cap solid, the block has the oil holes. If you mix that up, it will last about 40 to 45 seconds and then cease.
Ask Rich how he knows.
The guy in my shop did it with a brand new cap. I think it was a C15 or something, or 3406. He didn't make it another week past that. Moving up the crank journals.
Camshaft journals.
Camshaft journals.
Lifters.
I think I am dyslexic. And throwing some oil in the lifter holes at the same time. What's the spec?
4 to 14.
And we got
6, 7. Because I'm behind.
between
I'm behind 0. We're 2 below 0, and we're
4 above.
4 above.
Yeah, 6.
6 to 7.
Good.
We're good. Good so.
All right.
Yeah.
So I do like assembly lube. I don't know why. I don't like touching the bearings with my fingers. Try to avoid it. Right out of the package, stick it in, blow them off. And but Kevin's just straight up oil.
Dump a bunch of oil on, stick your fingers on there, it's all good. You don't touch the bearing with your fingers?
I don't know because my fingers are always dirty. Like this is clean, but even still,
I'll touch
you got
my
oil.
fingers.
No, hey! I tried hard not to touch that. I got lots of oil on it. I got lots of oil on the crank. We're all set. We can lift it in. This engine's weird because it's backwards. Everything in the timing cover's in the back.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, which one are you plasticaging?
Normally we do the thrust.
Yeah. Okay.
We're always like, I don't know, just at least do the thrust one.
Okay. So I won't oil that.
Tabs go on top of each other?
I don't know, the numbers, I'm pretty sure the numbers were facing this way, and then we turned it around.
Oh, man.
And now the crankshaft is in there. That's the right way, right?
That's the right
I'm
way.
sure the crank will fit in both ways.
This is the way, numbers are that way.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because originally they were this, like, before we turn it, the numbers were this way. That's number one. Don't drop it.
So I didn't put any oil on the bolts yet.
Okay.
You put a little oil in the can first for that? Yeah.
Okay, so look at my shop. I do not have plastigage. So we're just leaving the thrust bearing off. Thrust cap off. And we'll grab some plastigage in the morning and check it. We can still put all the pistons in. So Scott moved them over, balanced them, cleaned them, whatever.
Yep, so the pistons, yeah, cleaned them up. He did not tank the pistons. He did tank them, he didn't sandblast them. So then, yeah, he fitted them to make sure, check the rods, make sure everything was good. So I think we have 3 of the rods out of this original engine and 1 out of the other one.
Okay.
Because the one that was spun, obviously.
So we'll put all of them on. We'll leave the one cap off, and then we'll torque everything in the morning. So nothing is torqued. Rods you can torque, except for the last one.
I did get new rod bolts.
Oh, well, look at you.
Not that.
That guy really got to you.
He
about
said you
being
should
cheap.
put new rod bolts in, it's good practice. So we bought new rod bolts. Yeah, I said we're going all out on this.
So I rebuilt a 574 International, and as I'm building it, it says make sure you replace the rod bolts.
Yeah.
I went to my boss, I said, it says I need rod bolts, but I don't have the rod bolts, so now that delays the whole build.
Yeah.
And he says, that's just a marketing ploy. About 6 months later, there's a hole in the rod.
No way. Well, we seen that at the combine, right? So it's like, hey,
Yep.
let's just put new rod bolts in. So I don't know if these are still marked for what holes they came out of, but seeing how everything's been mic'd and measured and cleaned and bored, I said, I don't really think it matters anymore, does it?
Nope.
We gotta put some new rings on here yet.
Yeah. Didn't take the old rings off? You didn't put
But he thought that maybe we'd just use, those old rings look pretty good. Why don't you just use those? I'm like,
We're not gonna use the old rings. Actually, yeah, because it doesn't have any hours on it, does it?
no,
Yeah, okay, I see his point.
they're in good shape. But seeing how we're doing everything else,
Throw some rings in.
throw some rings on it. Open up the ring package. I'm like, oh, this isn't right. They sent ones for 5 rings, but then 2 were empty. So we have 1, 2, and 5. So 1, 2, 5.
Rings, if there is a mark on it, always goes up. If there's a chamfer on it, it goes up.
This one's got nothing on it. This one's got a chamfer on it. Yeah,
Yeah, top. It says top.
right on it.
That's the important part.
This one's got a bevel in it. Top, right there.
Oh, so that goes down. Never mind. What I just said.
This got a chamfer on it.
Does it say top?
One's got a bevel and one's got a notch, so same as that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say it's the right rings.
You gonna check gap?
Yeah. Just shove her together.
It's getting really late at night.
Why do we
Shove her
always
together.
Why do we always do this at night? All right, so you don't want to line up your grooves. If they're all lined up, that's bad because then you end up with a place for compression leak by. And then you also don't want them on the thrust side of the piston, which is here and here. So I always put one kind of off here, and then the next one way over on this side, and then the next one over here, but then off of that one a little bit. And Rich actually agrees with me on this. This is the first thing we've agreed on days.
And careful with the old ones. You can snap them in half to clean the groove, but
They can be sharp.
they can be sharp and they can slice your hands wide open. So oil behind the rings, pop the rings on. You can stick it in the vise, but do not clamp it tight. You don't want to distort the connecting rod in any way, shape, or form.
It wasn't tight.
You
It
know,
was
just more or less like you just want to hold it in
Yeah.
place. And then these bearings don't matter because they don't have holes in them. It gets oiled from the crank, so pop your bearings in, oil them up, and pop them in. Okay, not bad for tonight. We got the cam in, crank in, and 4 pistons. We left the thrust washer cap off and 1 rod bearing cap off. We're gonna grab some plastigage in the morning. We will check the clearances. Won't take much to throw the head on it. And we got a nice long block again.
Put a big condom on it.
The leftover from the jamboree.
Yeah.
Nice. I'd help you, but like,
Get busy.
I'm home camera and stuff. You know.
It's not.
Oh, it's just not big enough.
No, just keep the crap out of it.
Yep. All right, that's it for tonight. We'll see you whenever we get back to it again.
I did find the torque for the cam, and you're right, it's 24 Newton meters.
Hey, I knew it.
18.
Yeah, I know torque specs without even looking, and engines I've never worked on before. But you found plastigage.
We found plastigage. This cost me $3.95. Big expense to make sure we're right.
For a precision piece of
For
equipment,
precision.
I'd rather pay like $18 if I'm honest. We've done this before on the channel too, way back. I haven't done it for a while, but all it is a little piece of plastic, or clay, or whatever it is.
It's plastic. That's why they call it plastigage.
Yeah, I guess. And you just put it in between your bearing and journal, and then torque it down to spec. So we dried it off. Just lay it right on there. And she's gone.
Shit.
She's gone. It'll fall out when you flip it over the other way. Maybe put like 1 little dab of oil on the end and squeeze the cap on it. It'll spread out, and then you've got
Jam is all plastic now.
yeah, and then it'll squeeze to the width of these little marks, and that'll tell you your clearance.
So you don't have to comment that that's gonna ruin the engine, it's gonna blow it up, because we got it.
Yeah, don't use that one. That was on the floor.
Yeah.
But
Start over.
Take 2.
the dot on the cap goes forward.
Provided that you put the rod on the piston the right way.
What's the torque?
Just get the impact on it and carry. No, it's so many. We're gonna look it up here. Then it's,
I thought you would have been so prepared for me coming.
Well, I did.
You would rattle off the numbers like you did this 1,000 times before.
all Newton meters. It's all back here. Connecting rod caps. First stage, 60. Second stage, 60 degrees. Plus or minus 5.
So 60 Newton meters and then 60 degrees?
If we go here, you see if it's the same. Connecting rods, first stage 30, second stage 60, and then 60 degrees. At the end of the day, it's 60 Newton meters plus 60 degrees.
Because it's 60 Newton meters and then a degree of 60, it means they probably stretch the bolts. So we're using the original rod bolts for the plastigage and then replacing them with the new bolts, so we only use them once, or only stretch them once. So it's 44 foot-pounds.
So that's 22, and then 44, because we're gonna do the 3-stage method. How are we gonna get 60 degrees out of
That
that?
feels tight, man.
Yeah, that's
What are you gonna do, wreck the bolt or wreck the rod?
too tight.
That's a lot.
It's 60 Newton meters, right? Which is 44.
That's what I said.
That's what it says. So we're gonna go with that.
All right.
Oh, you know, like you were doing 8.3s and 5.9 head bolts, you're like, really? I gotta turn that another 90 degrees? And you're reefing on it thinking it's just gonna blow up, but it never does.
It never does. These are not big bolts. What kind of swear words do you think they'll say when it snaps? Makes for better video.
Oh.
An adapter, that is going to change the torque.
No, it won't. No, the adapter
No,
doesn't
it
change.
can't. It turns as long as
Turns.
it reflects in there.
All right, so it is 0. Is this how we like that? I'd rather have that up against this, I think, but that's not gonna move. Bigger bar.
Yeah, big giant bar. Help you snap these bolts.
That's right.
If you're the Snap-on truck driver for Dunville, you need to stop in here because Kevin's got a lot of Snap-on tools that are broken. Kevin, don't you have a whole pile of money to spend too?
Please don't buy anything.
I'm just here to fix your stuff.
Oh, no, that's not bad. 60.
60 is only less than a quarter turn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad.
If we were doing like
I don't
180.
know what you were worried about.
Good thing it's plus or minus 5 degrees, because I just seen you wiggle. All right,
I
so now when you're done, then
I
you
had
just,
an itch.
you get to
Now take it all apart.
take it off again.
Yeah.
And then this is where my tooth is broken, and this one was
Oh, it's
busted.
in. Your reverse tooth is broken?
No, there's some of the teeth in there. So I was just saying, somewhere in there, you're gonna find it, and then you're gonna lean on it, and then snap.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah, those edges are sharp. They don't really care about the endings
Yeah.
are there.
No, they got no mercy. And it's that big.
Yeah, look at that. Perfect. Nice and smooth. It's not tapered, so it's not bigger on one side than the other, so that's good.
Okay, we're allowed, I think it's 2 to 4. It's more than 2, and I'm gonna say it's a little bit less than 3. So it's in that 2 to 3 mark.
Perfect.
Nice.
I'm happy with that.
I'm extremely happy.
Now here's the controversy. I was told by certain people, leave the plastigage in there. I don't like doing that. Neither does Kevin.
you got fingernails for.
Yeah.
If I had enough
It's got a
time,
beautiful polish job, and you're just scratching it all to pieces.
they just got a whole bunch of,
I think it would block the oil.
he's got a whole bunch of people there with fingernails that do the polishing like this. Oh yeah. Look
Nice.
at that. Look,
All
I've
right.
never been there.
Process for the main bearings is the exact same. We're not going to film that, but we're going to torque this all down, and then we have to check protrusion. Torque it all down and then check protrusion?
Yeah.
You're that confident, right?
Well, we could
Or do you
torque
check
the
one
main, because
piston?
we're not taking the crankshaft out for protrusion screws.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're here now. I'm going to torque these two pistons at least, and then...
Torque all the pistons,
Yeah.
because that might affect your protrusion.
Yeah,
right?
but then if you're yeah, that's right. Okay, our clearance was between 2 and 3 thou. Plastigage is really accurate that way. Now we're checking end play, and we're allowed 3 to 10 thou.
So we're at 55 that way. And we're at, so we're 5 below 50 and 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 8, right?
Yeah, you're really reefing on it.
Yeah.
Like it should just be like, what's that?
Like 7 to 8.
Yeah, okay, just that little bit. You, don't, you shouldn't have to like reef on it.
I like to get max. All right, 7 to 8 thou, perfect.
You were bending all the main caps though. You know, this is fairly critical step because Scott did take 4 thou off the deck. And how much off the head?
Well, the head's flat, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All so it doesn't bring the valves closer, like in a dome?
Well, if you take some off of here and the pistons stick up too far, they'll whack the head, won't they? Or not?
Yeah, it depends what the head looks like.
Yeah, you're saying with the valves.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Originally, we thought we were going to get a 4 thou thicker head gasket.
Which you can get.
Which is cheaper than pulling all the pistons back out again and taking 4 thou off the top of the pistons. So you were talking about having to disassemble this again. I would never disassemble it. I would
Go get the thicker head.
get that thicker head gasket.
Which I think put a shim on the head.
Put a shim on it. Everybody should post-it notes. They brought the piston to the very top dead center.
Yeah.
We're at 9. Walk the piston off. Oh, look at that.
What are we at?
And you are at
9 and
1, 3, 13,
4, 5. That's 14. So it's gone to 80, right? 81.
94.
94. And back to 81. Yeah, so 13. And we're allowed 14? Or allowed 6? What did I say? 16. 16 and a half.
Yeah. We're good.
Check them all, or?
What a pile of work. It'll take at least 5 minutes per.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's still
That's about
spare.
13, 14. So
You got a little extra compression. It's
13. Oh yeah, now it's just gonna burn fuel that much better.
Oh yeah. Power, baby.
So I use a dial indicator to make sure you're all the way up, right?
Stick it right in the hole.
Yeah.
So once it starts rolling back, you know that you're at top. That's
Right there. She quit.
at 0. Look at that.
Perfect, eh?
You got her. All right, that's it.
Perfect. That's 13 to 14.
They're all the same too. That's nice.
Nice. Yeah. So he took 4 thou off, so we were probably in the low end of the range, right? Because we were supposed to be about. And now we're in the higher end of the range.
Yeah, but still
good. Drive on.
Nice. Okay, so
Head gasket? Well, I want to leave the head off until we time that fuel pump so we can do the same thing on the piston.
Yeah.
Make sure we're bang on top dead center.
Okay.
Because there's a service bulletin saying that that timing pin that goes in the crankshaft gear might not be top dead center.
oh, okay. Well, that's
So a lot of these engines, I guess, weren't timed right out of the factory. So that's interesting.
all right. So you're gonna figure out the pump.
Yeah,
and,
I'm gonna throw like the oil cooler in and the oil pump on the bottom, and we might as well roll it around, right? Put the oil pump on and
Yep.
oil fill tube and all that. Or should we put the timing gear on first?
You let the camera know. I'm gonna go home. Keep
I think
it
we'll do
organized.
the timing first, then we don't have to roll it around so many times.
Yeah.
All right, so we splurged, we put in a new oil pump. The old one's laying over there. Is the old one shot? I don't know, I think it would have been fine, but it just makes me feel a whole lot better.
It's not shot, but it's definitely for sale on eBay.
Yes, I don't know, it's spun a bearing, that's, the oil pump goes, let's start all over, right? And I sprung and put a new water pump on because if it's just a real pain where the
And they're
where to
cheap,
change
aren't
it.
they?
Yeah, the water pump was $300.
300?
I know, I was a little, I don't know if it was the same as a 5.9 Cummins, maybe they're cheaper, I don't know, but that was this one. And then the oil pump was only $200, so that was a pretty cheap insurance.
Yeah.
So anyways, got all the timing gear covers cleaned up now, so they'll go on, and then oil pickup tubes, and then we'll clean the scrap metal out of the oil pan. And that goes on. And then the bottom end's done and we can flip it over. Nice. So yeah, so this gets just gooped on. So the book calls for Loctite 5205. You know where you can find that?
On your shelf?
No, probably in the States somewhere. But when I Googled it and looked it all up, it's 5205 replaces 518. And guess what I have 518 from?
Where?
The Steiger training.
Oh, okay.
So I got some. So
nice.
perfect. So that's what we're gonna put on, and it's for aluminum to metal, right? Because you got to have something that's a little bit flexible,
Yeah.
right? Because
they
the
expand
aluminum's
into
gonna
this.
move different than that. So,
Yeah.
so that's what goes in the timing covers, and then the oil pan gasket is supposedly reusable. With this rubber gasket is that's what that
We
says.
got one on the spare engine too. So.
But yeah, well, we get a new one in the kit, so we're gonna put a new one on because it came in the kit. So I don't know. I don't.
Nice.
You know how to change oil pan and gasket on this thing, right? If it leaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, pull the motor out.
We're getting really good at that though.
It always goes quicker the second time. Now, the issue is timing the stupid pump.
Yeah, well, we'll do that once we get everything up, and then we'll flip it around, and then we'll time that pump when we put the gears in. You'll be back for that.
Okay.
Right?
You have 1 week.
Yeah, we're gonna do that on Monday.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, back on Kevin's Iveco. Timing cover, very straightforward. Although there's a map that, because there's no gasket.
Yeah, so when you look at it, it's just all flat. But in the book, it gives you a map of where it's got to go, so that you actually get
Where the goop goes.
where the goop goes. Because there's supposed to be another one in, I think, up here, and you got to watch out because there's a oil gallery in there that you don't get it in the gallery. It's in one of these.
Okay.
I can't see it now. It's on the backwards.
But you found the whole book online, right?
Yeah, the whole book was online.
So you guys can do that too. Now, the cam gear, it has a mark on it on one of the tooth, and the crank gear has a tooth with a little taper cut out of it. So match those up because the cam has to be timed to the crankshaft. You might be able to see it, but
well, we got this gear in the way now. There's
see the little dot? There's a little dot.
Yeah, and then that one tooth has got the corner out of it.
Yeah. So that will bring your, and your piston has to be at top dead center, but the injection pump is not timed. There's no, we messed up, Kevin.
Yeah, so you're supposed to take this little tab out of here. Like you're supposed to put your locking pin in the camshaft gear, lock it, and then take this tab out, and then tighten the screw back up, and that locks the shaft. I think it just butts up against the shaft.
Was that your job or my job?
That was your job to think of that.
I forgot that step. So now we have to time the pump, but it doesn't matter because
we were gonna check the timing anyways because there was a bulletin in my book that showed that some of these pumps weren't timed right from the factory because that pin wasn't lining up exactly top dead center. So we're gonna find exact top dead center with the dial gauge, and then we gotta. You need this little adapter. We tried with our dial indicator, but it won't fit through the hole.
Yeah.
That's about how size the pin is, and well, ours didn't fit in there.
Oh yeah.
So this is just basically it's kind of exactly like this, but this is different for a different pump. It just screws in with a pin, and then the pin comes the other side. You put your dial indicator in there, and we get that.
Yeah. So what's happening is there's a plunger that comes in and out every time it's on a fire stroke on one of the cylinders. So you're not measuring off of your delivery valves. There's one main delivery valve in here, and you need to know when that pumps. So because you don't know where the pump is, the keyway points at whatever cylinder is about to fire. So it's pointing at the different ones that's fire.
So we use the injector lines. We held the injector lines up. We traced it back. And this, which one was number one? This one?
top right is number one.
That's number one. That goes, so yeah, you gotta think a little bit backwards because when you're working on the injection pump and the timing gears, you right away think this is number one, but this is the front.
Yes.
This is number one. So we started to go until you start to get the, right, see it's moving, it's starting to pump.
Yeah.
So you back up.
Too much light? Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
So we back up to where it, no movement.
Yeah.
Right? And then we zero our gauge. And now we need, so it's an NA, so we need 1.1 to 1.25
millimeters.
And on a turbo engine, you need 0.95 to 1.1. So we set 1.1, we're good for both.
Just in case you haven't made up your mind whether you're going to throw a turbo on it.
One guy online was saying you have to take the cold start advance off because it messes up, and they were talking 0.85. So this is right from case, how to set it up. So we're just gonna go with this. Doesn't say anything about pulling that off, just says do this.
You don't trust Bob from the internet.
Well, I don't know, we'll just do it this way. This was the service bulletin to correct hard starting and smoking issues because they weren't timed right. So
Okay.
we're gonna go with that and hope for the best.
Okay, so that's the front of the engine. You're sitting in there, it's spinning this way.
Yeah, it's spinning this way and this end.
Yeah, so this way the crank is spinning this way. Camshaft spinning that way, which means that the injection pump spins the same way as the crank.
Right.
Because you can't set it before.
Because you can set it up either way, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a cam in there, so you could, if you're turning it backwards, you'll have it on the wrong end.
Yes, so you need to go before that, before you come up to the plunger, and that's your measurement.
So I was going the wrong way.
I was going this way.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm going clockwise. That's wrong. We gotta go this way. I gotta bump it one. I gotta click it one more that way.
You gotta go.
Because now I'm starting to go this way, but I'm gonna be on this one.
Yeah.
So should we pull our dial indicator out while we click that?
Sure.
Just because it's gonna snap and I don't want to wreck that.
Yeah. That would suck, eh?
Yeah.
Then you own a broken tool.
We're gonna have to go one more. So basically now we're going backwards, right? So
You're going backwards, yeah. Until you're before
Click.
that, yes.
So now we're up. Right now we're gonna start going on. Now we're up. Right,
yeah. So you can go past, yeah. Now put your dial indicator.
Yeah,
in.
so now we're past. So now we're. So yeah, you want to make sure you shove this in so you get a little bit of right.
In the middle somewhere.
Yeah. Well, not too much because you got.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna. So that's where it starts to move. So back up. Now reset to 0.
Yeah.
It gives us 0.15 millimeters to play with, which is quite a bit because that's like 15 on there, right?
1 millimeter is 15 times?
No, this is so one time around is 1 millimeter.
Oh.
So we got to go one time around plus 10.
Oh, okay.
So we're working backwards here a little bit, right? Because it's gonna go around this way.
It's a millimeter gauge.
Yeah, and I did check it. I put it up against this one.
Yeah.
And I pushed the two together.
Puts us on a one, yeah.
Well, because I can't read that little tiny thing to see if that's actually. I think it says millimeters.
Yeah, this is millimeter.
Yeah, okay,
0.01 millimeter.
So my eyes are going bad. I don't know. I'm thinking that's millimeters, but you shove it, and this goes like a third of the way around. That goes all the way around. So we go, okay, that's got to be metric then.
All right.
Okay, so now I'm gonna turn
One full one.
counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise.
So we gotta go.
Sitting in the driver's seat.
Oh,
What happened there?
my nut comes loose doing that, going that direction.
Double nut it? You got the double nut from the other one, right? Or just vice grip the cone, who cares? So we got a spare engine, we'll just take the nut off and double nut.
Well, it's quite a bit of.
It's hard work. You're expecting it to pop, aren't you?
I did do it the other way around, and it. Okay, here we go. All right, 0. So that's 1,
And then another.
1, and then put it right in the middle.
Yeah. And then.
Oop, and back.
Tell me when.
Yeah, right over there.
It's like wanting to roll off of that candle then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's as tight as I dare to go.
Yeah, and it's holding there.
Okay.
So we're gonna leave that in there while we tie it all up, make sure it doesn't move.
Take the double nut off.
Okay, it moved. It moved 1. That's why we gave it. We put it in the middle of the range. Yeah. All right, so now we'll set this baby exactly top dead center with our high dollar Princess Auto gauge. So that's moving that direction. So it's kind of like in that. You see where it kind of goes. I have that pin in there though.
The cam pin, yeah. So don't refund it.
So I'm not reaching out. I'm just
Don't go
trying
all
to
the
get
way
that.
around.
We just gotta get it right to that 39 mark, right there.
So the service bolted for this actually to set your pump is to jam open your intake valve.
Yeah.
And then turn it all the way around until you hear a clunk.
No,
by hand, not by
No,
starter.
you open it, you find top dead center, and then you back it off, and then you jam open your intake valve.
Yeah.
And then you come up till it touches.
Yeah.
And then turn it the other way and come till it touches. And you're gonna make yourself a little pointer to run paint on the, here, I can show you right here in the book. Right? Why explain it? Here it is in the book, right? You draw a little line, you make yourself a little pointer.
Yeah.
And then you draw another line on the other side, and then you just kind of measure between the two.
Roll it into the middle, and that's top dead center.
Get your liquid paper out.
Very scientific.
So I'm thinking that we're good. Like
You're good.
with a dial indicator, we are way good.
The gear doesn't matter because we're not using the keyway.
Yeah, but from
Experience?
previous experience,
It has to be perfectly clean.
clean and dry. So I got the gear down ready.
We've done, anybody with a P pump 12 valve has been there.
Because when it slips and you get to do this all over again.
Yeah. And on the side of the road. When it's a 12 valve. I've been there. That's the only time it stopped running on me ever.
All right, now we can just throw this any which way. It doesn't really matter. Just throw it on once things are lined up in time. Just like that.
And what's the torque?
Impact.
That one is. Impact might not be a. You don't want to risk turning it.
Yeah, I know you don't want to risk turning it, but that's why you're. Good enough?
Good enough. You're so strong. You're so strong.
It gives you two things. It gives you snug torque, which is 15 to 20, and then final torque, which is 85 to 90. Like, it's one bolt. Why do you need to go 2 stages?
Some guy trying to justify his job.
Well, unless
Make sure
unless you're supposed to just snug it and then check your timing. Right, that's what I'm thinking. That they gave you that snug torque. You just check your timing, make sure nothing's moved, and then crank it.
So 66
foot-pounds.
Foot-pounds is your final torque. All right, and after that, we're gonna breeze over, putting the head back on again. There's nothing much major going on with that. Torque as you see it on the manual. Don't put that tool away. The seals, we'll show you guys how to install the seals, and then we'll throw it back in and start doing wheelies again.
Yeah, something like that.
It's just a really easy, quick
But
job.
before it throws back in, it needs a fresh coat of paint.
Oh, really? You're going out?
You know, you get it all clean and stuff. You gotta make, if a rebuild engine's gotta look like something you're proud of when you're done.
That's always our thing, is like, you got a tractor like that, and then you repaint the block and nothing else. It's
Yeah,
like,
well, at
it
least set up the auction sale, you can say, see, new motor. Oh yeah, look at that, new motor in there.
snug, then pull the lock out.
Pull the lock out of the camshaft gear too,
Yeah.
just in case you spin it when you're torquing the final torque.
We should have stopped recording there, because that's a pretty crucial part. That's why you watch the whole video. Right to the very end. Pull out your lock, pull out your cam.
No, as soon as they shut that part off, you quick comment before watching the end of the video. Now, we'll give it the final torque. Oh, see, we're moving. Okay, and then now we can check. Oh, it's going the wrong way.
Should be right there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, beauty.
Cool. So,
Yeah,
then we
nice.
back it off till we get to the 0,
Fire right
and
up.
then you're gonna go, provided we got it on the right cylinder.
And before top dead center, not after.
That's why you have to preload, so it's already starting to pump before it gets to the top of the center.
Yeah.
So that when it gets to opening pressure, you're just past.
Yeah.
So
Probably wouldn't start, and then probably
you can do this
smoke
in the
like a bit.
machine, right? Like this will fit through the injector lines.
Oh,
Right, and then because it sits in there backwards, this is easy to get to,
yeah.
right? Because the rad and everything's over there, and you
Yeah.
can take the cover off.
Once you tilt the cabinet up.
It's just a little harder to find top dead center, which you can stick it through an injector hole, or you can watch the rockers, or whatever you want to do.
It's a good thing we videoed this thing coming apart, because I didn't have a clue where this stiffener plate came off of. I was assuming it came off the front, but I wasn't sure. So sure enough, going to video, well, that's where it was. The book kind of shows one going all the way down, a stiffener plate holding the whole thing together, but I guess if it's not turboed, they figure it doesn't need that much support. I don't know. Anyways, that's all that back together, and timing cover back on, both sides. We're gonna put the oil pan on and flip it over. So supposedly you can use this again, but this pan gasket was very brittle and it came apart in pieces. The new one now is nice and pliable. So I guess if it's, I don't know why you'd have the oil pan off before the oil pan gasket got hard, but I don't know. I guess if it's still like this, you can reuse it, but from my experience here, just get a new one.
for me, the best part of getting the machine shop to deck the block and plane the head is look how clean that is. I'm gonna spend 0 time scraping an old gasket off. So just make sure it's good and dry. We should have given the machine shop, I guess, our color scheme before they painted it. Anyways, we're gonna clean and dry, new gasket, torque it up. It's just like 5.9 Cummins and all those where you gotta torque and then go so many degrees cold and then set the valves. Now, a lot of people complain about these torque to yield bolts, but I like it better than the old system. The old system was you put the head on, you torqued it, you ran it, you heated it up, and then you took the valve cover out again, retorqued the bolts, reset the valves. Now you just torque it cold, set it cold, and you're done. Much better. So I took some time and scraped all the paint off where the bolts go because it's not gonna torque right. You get paint in there, it's gonna give it like almost like a lubricant in there or something. The paint's gonna, we used to have trouble with tractors, wheels coming loose when they were new because they're bolted on with paint and then you have to retorque them later. So just take the paint off if you got painted at the machine shop before you put the bolts in. Alright, so got the valve set. That's just your basic, same as a 4BT. You put it till the pin goes in and you set these 3 and this one. And then you flip it around 180 degrees and then you set these 2 and this one and this one. Interesting enough, the book shows you which ones, if you can read that, which ones you're supposed to set. But they goofed up because they're saying you're supposed to set these 2 exhaust valves on the first time and then now these 2 intake valves, but you can see that there's pressure on this one and then there's pressure on, so they goofed it up. You got to set this intake valve the first time around and this exhaust valve and then this time these 2, so otherwise it's not going to be right. So oops, somebody X'd the wrong box when they printed that. So we did reuse the head bolts. I didn't show you, but you can measure them. If I find an old bolt here, I can show you. So you can measure, if this was a head bolt, you would measure here and you would measure up here. And this can't be skinnier than this because that means it's stretched. So you're allowed 4 thou difference and I had a 1 thou difference. So they are tiny bit stretched, but they're still in spec to be reused. So front and rear seals, basically the same as any Cummins. They come together. It's a 1-piece seal. It spins inside of itself. Now you want to make sure you get the right tool. I happen to know somebody that had the tools for this engine, so I picked them up. Front and rear is exactly the same. Put the tool on, shove it in. Rear the same. And make sure that it gets it in the right depth. And that hopefully doesn't leak. Clean and dry. It goes. This one even has a little bearing here to facilitate. So even though none of the tool is metric, you need a 30 mil or a 1 3/16 wrench. And there we're against the housing. That's as far in as that one's gonna go. So rear is the same. Interesting enough, I was looking online and someone was complaining about your rear seal always leaking. And this thing has a little bit of a lip right here at the bottom. And right here, there's a little tiny cast iron lip. So the rest of it's open. So if you press that seal in too far, the bottom is gonna catch this and it's gonna get a little bit crooked in there and it's gonna leak. So I'm wondering if that's what that problem that guy had. So if you have the wrong tool, that's probably gonna happen.
There she is, ready for installation. But first, the cheapest and most satisfying part of any engine job, a fresh coat of Transplant. This kind of blows my mind a little bit. So this pump runs the whole skid steer. The pump for the auxiliaries up here, the loader and stuff. This controls your driving. It all runs off this coupler. So this engine is putting out, I don't know, 60, 70 horse. We're all worried about you can't fix the crankshaft because it might break. But all that horsepower gets transferred to that pump through a plastic coupler. So a lot of faith in this plastic, but it works. We can stall the motor out, so I don't know. That's some pretty good plastic. I guess it's because it's not made in China. Okay, so it's coming together. So when we took this thing apart, I took the rad and the oil cooler off in one piece, and this hose was such a pain to get off under there. So I put that on first and then put the cooler on. Now the rad pins underneath here. I guess that's so you can get it out to clean it. I don't know, you gotta take the hoses off and drain it. But it's got these pins here that go in there. So I'm hoping that I can just stick it in there, get that hose on, and somehow reach underneath to put those clips in. But that would be easier than trying to fight it in as a unit. At least that's the plan. So I don't know how I'm gonna be able to get in there, get them maybe through these holes down here. I don't know if I got really long arms or get one of the kids to stick their skinny arms up there. I don't know, we'll figure something out. All right, so Case makes these plastic fuel lines, which saves them some time in the factory because they just snap together, but they're a real pain in the butt because you bugger up a little fitting, you can't find these fittings on the end, so you have to buy a whole fuel line from Case for $100.
It's always cranks that fast. Yeah? It's not very fast. Nothing spraying yet. Nothing spraying anything yet? No, give it a second. I guess that's all you get. I usually go until I see a little bit of smoke coming out of the muffler and then tighten them up because I know it'll start. Yeah, ready to tighten after this, right? Yeah. You got no smoke yet though, right? No smoke. No smoke is bad, man. That's timing. I can smell it. Fuel in the tank? Yeah. The fuel tank. We're all glued that filter again? Yeah. Piston.
It smells like exhaust in here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Smoke in the air.
I think something's happening.
Smoke in the air.
It's rebuilt so perfect that there's no smoke. You can just smell the.
Oh, of course, it's right on.
Is that it? That sounded
Sounds like a little.
Yeah, right? Yeah. That sounds better. Air number 3 and 4. There we go. Okay, now we're starting to get little sparks 1 and 2, or 3 and 4. That's 1 and 2, huh?
Oh, you meant these two.
These two are squirting.
Yeah.
I'm thinking backwards here. You can tighten those and... Did we crank it to 200? You do? Oh, the charger puts. That's why. Oh. Yeah, it cuts out every now and then. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But smoke is good. That means we got some sort of compression. We got compression, otherwise we'll just go wee. That does help. Ah, you weren't full throttle? Are you kidding me?
They're almost full throttle. They should go full throttle when until it starts.
Normally. Oh, really?
Not gonna say that valve is bad since we've owned it. Oh, nice. It's just never run like that. Awesome. It's always like, especially when you first start it up, you always flutter and smoke bad, but I don't know if the timing is up too, like the bolt thing. Yeah, but that thing runs mint.
Yeah, not a hit to smoke. Like for soaking pistons in oil and whatnot, I generally had it smoke for like 20 seconds until I get some temperature.
Okay. So now what? So there's two schools of thought. One is you're gonna bathe it for the first couple 100 hours, but I'm more of a put her to work, seat those rigs.
But that's, so we did not have this conversation before, but you guys have seen me do multiple times. Make it work hard. The second you fire it up, do not keep steady RPM, just unless you're loading it.
Warm it up.
Yeah. Warm it up, fire it over.
The best thing for a new engine is to work, to get those rings seated. Yeah. You just putting it around and just all you do is carving the thing up.
Yeah, we gotta sink those rings. Yeah. Awesome. You know what? Whoa!
Yeah, $300 battery later.
So? Chutzo? That's what we want to hear. It sounds good. No smoke whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like not even when you're loading it down, it's not puffing black. So can you notice a power difference?
Not really, but I didn't really push it to stall mode yet.
Yeah. And keep in mind
It
that
runs way better though.
yeah, okay, good. Awesome. Well, that's another project done. Is there anything else on the back burner?
We got that little Fiat we gotta split in half, yeah?
Yeah. You guys interested in a Fiat build? Comment down below. But this is what's involved in a little case rebuild. But I think the biggest thing to learn here is that it's not a 4BT. Not even close. None of the parts are the same, and it is
I think
specific.
the valves might be the same.
Oh,
in the head.
okay.
Possibly. Don't take my word on it. But other than that, yeah, there's nothing.
Funny that even though we both have 40 years between the two of us wrenching in the shop and schooling, we misdiagnosed this one at first, right? It wasn't terrible that it rolled on its side because, yeah, that bent valve was there since day one. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Remember, it's just lefty loosey, righty tighty. At the end of the day, you guys can do this too. So yeah, thanks for watching. Here we go.